story. Won a lot of battles, but there's more in store. If you're gonna be a soldier, know what you're fighting for. We the battle axes, Yah's weapons of war. We can't be defeated, let them know from the door. We won a lot of battles, but there's more in store. If you're gonna be a soldier, know what you're fighting for. We the battle axes, Yah's weapons of war. Before you go to battle, you should know what you up against. When Yah sends his army on a mission, it ain't no defense. Have the latest weapons up, go and learn Kung Fu, or you can read The Art of War, written by Sun Tzu. You gon' need all of the above when we come through. When Yah sends the order out, where you gon' run to? Sword drawn off with your head like a guillotine. You read what we did to the Canaanites and Philistines. Can't be defeated, let them know from the door. We won a lot of battles, but there's more in store. If you're gonna be a soldier, know what you're fighting for. We the battle axes, Yah's weapons of war.
This song has been heavy on my heart this week. Probably because I listen to too much news. But the Terminators are coming. The Terminators are coming, Jack. The AI, the Terminators, the fight with China, damn, Russia.
Saving the balloon flying.
Man, listen, man. Yeah, no, I agree with you, sis. What I'm saying is, for those who don't know, the prophets of science fiction is real. Like the stuff that they show you in movies, they do it. And this week I had one of those moments, a sober moment, where I was just like, only Yah. You know, when this thing really kick off, only Yah is gonna keep us, fam. Because these fools is really doing. It's like you didn't see the movie. You didn't see how this ends, and you still do it. I listen to CNN, not CNN. I listen to C-SPAN fairly often. I can't do too much entertainment right now, especially. Like I have in the past, but I'm in a different mindset now, and so entertainment is too distracting. And so I'm listening to more news, and I listen to a lot of C-SPAN, because not only do you get, I won't say unbiased opinion, but you get perspectives from both sides of the bird, swings, left wing, right wing, independent, all that. But C-SPAN will also tune in to, no, it's television. So we start recording about this stuff. The live debates on the floor of the House and all that, House representatives. And not that we're supposed to get too caught up in all of that, fam, but we got to be aware of what's going on in the world. And when I tell you, they don't know what the hell they're doing. Like, they would like people to believe they know what they're doing. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They just doing stuff, man. And this world is going to hell. I know that's my rant for the day. This world going to hell, y'all. They don't know what they're doing.
It's because, you know what I'm saying, it's like when you think about it, they're working for a higher power, or doing what their masters telling them to do without any real understanding. You know what I'm saying? They know what their masters promised them, but you're talking about the king alive here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
if you don't know how to turn it down, turn it down.
They know that they
just say somebody else do that. They whole study. They say they phone going out and study.
My man was a study like this. He studied. He didn't care. So Paul, hey, man, yeah, man, I'm trying to read.
I'm preaching right now. I'm sitting down you into the preaching.
Right. Man, I was looking for you last week. Come on, man, come on. Anyways, this lies to them, and then they gotta say assume that, you know, they finally been serving these masters for thousands of years, and they masters will lie to them, but it's true. You know what I'm saying? They all
it's going crazy.
Especially when Ariel say stuff like he gave them the mind to do this, he gave them the mind to do that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you doing. Yeah. It's just like somebody, like Akotika Borg had her hand up. Come to the mic, Coach, so I can make sure that we can hear y'all.
Could have called Tasha. Can you hear me?
So we cannot.
Are you speaking right now, sis?
I am.
Why are you still talking? Can't hear you.
Oh, okay. So we can't hear y'all. I'm sorry. Was Akotika Antoinette talking at first? I seen your name was on there, but we can't hear anything. I'm sorry if we cut you off, sis. Oh wow, I feel horrible. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay, try it now, sis. Let me see what you have.
Shabbat shalom.
There you go. We are so sorry.
So sorry about that, y'all.
And then I went on my epic rant.
He did in the middle of
epic rant.
I'm sorry. So.
Oh, we heard you. You just didn't hear us. We heard you.
Right. We can hear y'all. You couldn't hear us. I just asked about my baby.
Noah. Where is Noah? Speaking
Did
of
you hear me just ask somebody to go to the back and tell them that we're recording? That wasn't Noah this time?
No, that's it. Noah knocked that over there.
Oh.
Noah didn't make it even to the.
Noah filled his belly, helped clean up after dinner, and curled up.
Mama's little jelly bean.
Coach Gabor, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was saying that you are absolutely right about the artificial intelligence, because I'm still licensed, so I still get all those medical journals and stuff. And they have gotten to the point where now they are already trying the chip. They've already been cloning people. So now they're getting to the point where they got the chip where they can put in and control people. And the gentleman that was giving the presentation actually told everybody that next year when he gives the update, it'll be his AI that'll be giving the update.
I believe it. Think about for those that don't know, think about Neuralink. What Elon Musk is working on. Think about the deep fakes. It's so many. It's so many things that are being put into effect or put into the works or being added to the mix or being added to the calculus of things, of just wicked things that it's like, we finna be to the point where you're not going to be able to keep up with all of this wicked stuff they got going on. There's no way you're going to be able to keep up with it. I mean, we read about an image being made to speak, and back in the day, Ribs say the old church lady said it was a TV. Well, now you got the deep fakes. You won't be able to tell who's real and who's not. It's your protection. Your only protection will be under the righteous covering of the Most High. Yep. 100%. Yeah, but see, Coach T say we can't keep up. Now you're right, and how can I say? I don't want to. Our elders been saying that. Our elders been saying that for generations, saying the technology is getting to be too much, spiraling out of control. These people call in on CNN. They say, "I don't use a cell phone. I don't use the internet. I don't log on." So all this stuff that, and I was finna make a joke about that, but just think about this honestly. All of the things that are being set up for ease of consumption these days are set up to be easy by way of technology. You can remotely log in, you can remotely check this, you can check it from your phone, you can check it from your laptop. A lot of children these days don't even know what a desktop is or looks like. Yeah, I was just joking about that during the week. And there are people who are still alive who still use landlines. Most people these days don't even have a landline in their house. We were trying to get a landline in our house because I feel like it's good for emergencies. You lose power, whatever. We couldn't even get a landline out of the house, just because we so rural. We did, but it didn't work well. But yeah, man, our elders been saying technology is too fast. I'm saying the same thing, in my daily job as I haul cars for a living. Right now anyway. And man, I get into these cars. Oh, our personal vehicle, you still got to turn the key to start a car. Most of the vehicles I haul, you just push a button. And I'm sure y'all familiar with that. But there's some cars I get in and I cannot figure out how to get out sometimes. I know that sounds funny. There's some cars I'll get in and I can't figure out how to adjust the mirror. or to put it in reverse. You know what I'm saying? Or so, or you know, I may be driving it and it slams on the brakes when I'm trying to go forward, and I didn't choose for it to do that. You know what I'm saying? And it's something I say with, you know, with people I work with, is it's just, these cars too damn smart. They're too smart. I can't stand them.
I don't like that. I don't like the car to slam the brakes, or if I'm like trying to dodge a pothole and it feel like I'm going over cross
Lane assist.
yeah, put me
Yeah.
back in line. Like, whoa, man, I'm trying to dodge a pothole.
Yeah.
I know.
These technologies are all going to be integrated. I believe these technologies are all going to be integrated. You know, you see the AI, you see the AI studying us, because it learns through studying us and repetition, and it grows its knowledge base and its awareness through the internet and through interaction with humans. So your Alexa, your Cortana, your whatever the AI is, it's on your phones, or if you got one of those boxes or televisions or whatever, it's constantly learning us. Google Maps is always sending those vehicles around in your neighborhood with the cameras to map out new neighborhoods, new highways, so they have the most updated information. So now you have the data, you have the data that incorporates the physical infrastructure of the cities that you each individually live in, the intelligence of the AI to interact with people, the physical structures of the robots that they're building with DARPA and stuff like that for the national defense, or to help humans, to be helpers, like in the movie. What movie was that we was watching? Anyway, but to be a helper in the hospital or whatever. Once you take that robot and add the Google database to each individual robot, add the AI capabilities along with its onboard camera and computing system, you got the Terminator. Facial recognition, combat capabilities. Come on, man. This thing is here.
Auntie Latasha?
Genesis. Y'all remember the movie Genesis? Did y'all watch the movie Genesis? Terminator Genesis?
Yes, I watched it. But when we talking about that and we talking about like the things that they're creating, did y'all see the hybrid of the crocodile? I want to see is the crocodile or the alligator and the catfish?
Yeah.
And they're taking human cells and they creating a crocodile and a catfish, and they're putting it together, and they are saying that it's supposed to cure certain diseases that's inside the swamp. And they're saying that this human cell, the crocodile and the catfish together is supposed to like kill out certain diseases that's in the swamp to help the environment.
Yeah.
It's a hybrid.
You know,
Yeah.
And I just been like,
no, go ahead.
yeah. Look at this. And I've been talking like Koti Kabura, I've been telling her like I've been reading, as they call it, the 12 minor prophecies, the prophets. And I just been reading it and like lining it up with everything that's going on today. And I'm just like, I wonder if people see what he's saying. And like all these things are coming to the forefront and coming to like everything that's going on in today's world.
Mm-hmm.
Like just lining up everything that's being said right then and there when he's talking to like Joel and Amos and Haggai, and then showing it like today. And I'm like, I wonder if people see it. Like, do they see it? Or is it going over their head and they just like, oh my God, they in the lab trying to create this, or they trying to create this disease to see if they can solve this disease. And I'm like, it's written. Like, do they see it? But a lot of people don't. I'm just trying to figure out what the heck a crocodile and a catfish going to do together.
Yeah.
I think they keep a lot of people occupied. You know, the Beyonce ticket's $2,000.
Right.
So they keep a lot of people occupied.
Yeah.
And so they do the Kansas City shovel a lot. Like, look over here
Yeah.
while we do this over here. You know.
But by that same
Yep.
token, I think most people have a feeling that it's stuff that they're doing is not right. And they just don't, they may not be able to match it with prophecy, as you're saying. But some people do. Some people is like, the Bible ain't okay with this. So this ain't in line with the Bible.
I think it go hand in hand with
But you know,
I think they do it.
but you know what though, even as you know, believers and stuff, when we read, like, we're not paying attention, like Coach Tasha was saying, we're not paying attention to the signs. When she was telling me about that, I started looking into other things that was going on. And I was looking, because when she was talking about the cloning, I started looking into what they were doing with that. And they have a study going on right now where they are putting chips in people, right? And you have these people that are going around with this chip right now, and they are starting to convince other people that getting this chip is good because, you know, if you run out of the house without your wallet, the police can scan this chip and bam, they have your license and everything. You know, and they're using it under the guise of convenience,
Right.
stopping death, you know, killings from the police, you know, and things like that. And yes, and they have this, and also the chip is linked to like their bank account so that they can scan it. And when I saw that, I immediately, a verse came to me from Revelations. And I was like, this is exactly how they're going to get the mark of the beast into people. And we're not even realizing it because they're working it up. Oh, it's convenient. Oh, you can do this. Oh, you can do that. Well, if there's in Revelations, when you don't take the mark of the beast, you're not going to be able to buy food. You're not going to be able, and it specifically says that. So that's why I was thinking about that. I'm like, oh my God, they already starting it and we're not even paying attention.
Yeah, these people
Yes.
have
And then
some years back.
Yep.
Go ahead.
And then here in Pennsylvania, I don't know if it's like that any other place, but it's been like this for years. Here in Pennsylvania, as a state, I know in the city they really stop you, but in the state as a whole, if you don't have $15, at least $15 in your pocket, or you can't prove that you have at least $15, they lock you up.
What?
Like you can do 72 hours in jail for not having, because they saying that you're plagiarizing or you're flagrant or something like that, and that you're a beggar. And if you can't prove that you have at least $15 in your pocket or just $15 to your name, they will lock you up.
Try to make it more.
Yes.
That's crazy.
They will lock you up for 72 hours.
So you can't be poor there.
And and it's crazy because at first I'm like, when I found that out as a teenager, I'm like, what? Like who?
That's crazy.
We just turned 16, 17. Why would I have $15 in my pocket at 16? Then we finding something to do. I'm not holding $15 in my pocket.
Man, this time I've been grown. I had $15 in my bank account now.
Right. And then like the curfew for because the curfew for like now for Zion in the city, the curfew for them is 9:00 and he's 14. So the curfew is 9:00 and he's 14. But if he's outside and say, because now in Philadelphia you can start working at 13.
Yeah.
So if he's outside at 9:00 at 14 and he don't have money in his pocket, they're gonna think that he's out doing a crime. So now I have to come down to the courthouse to pick him up because he's outside at 9:00 and then he telling them like, no, he's coming from work, but you don't have no money in your pocket. So now I gotta go pick my 14-year-old son up. from
That's
a
that's
courthouse.
to me because I don't know many people who even use cash anymore to have cash in their pocket.
Right, right. And it reminds me of the time during slavery when they first freed them, and they were saying like, "Oh, if you don't have this land, or if you don't have this amount of money, or if you don't have this job, then you can go to jail." That's what it was reminding me of here in the city in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania as a whole state. That's what it reminds me of, because
That's
it's
what it
like
sounds like.
y'all trying to put us back into slavery, because
So
nobody carries that.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Now I was gonna say nobody carries money on them anymore, especially in the city, because people you get on the subway, the next thing you know, you're being robbed.
Right. I was reading here.
It's just
A Kota Keisha said similar to the vagabond law that was enacted during Reconstruction, and I was just wanting to agree with that. Like you say, Indigo was chiming in with what you were saying as far as having your papers. And they still have that, you know, on the books. I didn't know it was that extreme, is what you're saying, but your ID is the equivalent of your papers right now. To be pulled over and you don't have your ID, you can go to jail because in their estimation, they need to see and understand who you are, whether or not you pose some type of threat or whatever. And Akoti Tania also had a good input. She said it's going to be way more chaotic later on, but the main tactics by the enemy is fear, providing a solution to chaos. That's why our foundation has to be solid. And I 100% agree. 100% agree with that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you could really wrap it all up in a nutshell with that. You know, that foundation has to be solid because people gonna be running around here like Chicken Little. Chicken Little. Yeah.
it is really so scary, because I look at, and I live in the city, and it's like the stuff that they doing. Like a young man, he's raping women on the train, like in broad daylight on the train. How do you do that
Dang.
on the train?
What about the 6-year-old?
They got raped on the school bus, in the back of the bus.
Y'all firing on all cylinders. Yeah.
A crazy
Got it.
place.
And to what combining what Akoti Gabor was saying about the mark and what Sister Tania you were saying, I think that's very key because the chip is one thing, right? And am I letting somebody put a chip in me? Hell no. But that being said, you know, I believe that mark is a lot more spiritual than it is physical. I'm not dismissing the chip, so I'm saying that again. I'm not dismissing the chip at all. But you know, the Shabbat is a mark for Yah. You know what I'm saying? His name is a mark. The Ruach is a mark for Yah. So there's got to be parallel marks for the adversary, for the beast, that are also spiritual in nature, not just physical in nature. And understanding that and having that foundation to tie it in will keep the fear down, I believe.
I definitely think that is because the chip ultimately can be taken out. Now I'm not saying go get the chip.
Right.
Don't, because baby, look, they had to kill me first, and I don't know what good that's gonna do once I'm dead, you know. But at the same time, the mark of the beast is something that's irreversible. Scriptures say that, you know, he gonna cause a terrible sword to come upon those who receive the mark of the beast. So a terrible sword, that definitely sounds biological. It's something, you know, it's
Zombie-esque.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's something going on with it, you know, next level with the mark of the beast. And ain't no going back. Ain't no going back. You can't take it out. You can't, you know, once you do that, that's it. That's a wrap.
Yep. Yep. Getting ready for the Messiah to come back. I'm over. Yeah, I'm with you.
Me too.
I'm with you. Coty, did you put your hand up again? Come on. You got it.
Yes, because I was just thinking about when y'all just said it. When I was talking to my aunt, who is a minister underneath a bishop,
Mhm.
and we was talking, we was having a conversation because she was just asking me about what made me like dig into the scripture more and what made me want to follow the laws and stuff like that. So I was explaining to her, my point and what he showed me. I say, I believe in our lifetime he showed us at least once, and it's our choice to either we awaken to it and we follow it and we listen, or we ignore it and we still follow what we are comfortable in. I believe, and that's what I said. That's what I believe, and I just said, when he showed me, I said, oh, wait a minute, this is what I want to. This is what he's saying. This is what I'm supposed to do, and he shows me in the scripture the truth of it. Because she was just saying like how she feel like the Hebrew Israelites is a hate group, and I was like, it's not a hate group. It's just it's who we are. It's our culture. It's our inheritance. It's us as a people. It don't have nothing like y'all categorizing it as a religion or a group instead of y'all seeing it as the Irish people see themselves as Irish. The
Right.
Scotland see themselves as Scottish.
A heritage.
The Romans see themselves as Romans. Like that's y'all seeing it as a group instead of y'all seeing it as your culture, as your inheritance, as your nationality. So
Right.
it's but me and her had a conversation. So I told her, I was like, just tune into like 2 or 3 of the episodes. Don't tune into this one because I'm gonna be talking about you, but tune into like 2 or 3 of the episodes and then see what we're talking about. And then you'll see the difference. Cause I think I told you her son-in-law is a part of the ice pick people. So she see that's what she see
Okay.
instead of her. So
That
she was
makes
like,
sense.
"Are you a part of them?" I'm like, "No."
That
And it
makes
just made me think of like the difference between the church and the actual truth of what we are and who we are as a people.
Well, I mean, when you put it like that, then also the difference between um, any religion, including those who say they're Hebrew Israelites, but still are religious in nature. So even when you talk about
Yeah.
them, are they still um, dealing with religiosity, so to speak? You still talking about your church and the deacons and all of that, and you still have these dogmas that you keep that have nothing to do with the word or the spirit. I guess to be plain, don't have anything to do with spirit. You've got practices, you've got traditions, you've got call and response school where you teaching people when they say this, you say that. When they say this, you say that. Memorize this scripture, memorize that scripture. Well, they do that in Christianity too. I've talked to ministers to say that that's a thing to memorize scriptures, to use your memorization as intimidation in a conversation or a debate, as opposed to just dealing with people. We people, we're supposed to deal with each other in meekness and humility, love, patience, kindness. You're supposed to show Messiah. And ultimately, whether you call yourself a Christian or an Israelite or just a believer, if you say you believe in Torah and the so-called New Testament, I love what Paul said. Paul said, be an imitator of me as I am an imitator of Messiah. So imitate me, I'm imitating Messiah. Messiah kept the law. I mean, it really don't get no plainer than that. If you believe in the Messiah, Messiah did not break Torah. He kept Torah. And then if you want to get more technical, not technical, but if you want to create illusions, allegories, not confusion.
Layers.
Where you're drawing a parallel or a similarity, similar to then you can compare it to children and parents as far as our relationship with, the Heavenly Father, or a marriage relationship in which either the children have gone astray, or one of the or the wife in the marriage, specifically the wife, just because of our relationship with Messiah, has gone astray, and that strain is now forgiven. So the dying for the sins is the forgiveness of the strain from the relationship, or the forgiveness for the disobedience of the child in the child-parent relationship. Now, once the forgiveness is given, the only question is, for my Christian friends, I've been listening to politicians this week, is now that you're forgiven, do you then come back to the parent and say, you forgave me, now I get to continue to disobey? Or in a marriage relationship, you've forgiven my straying or my infidelity, and now I get to continue in infidelity. It's like, it don't even make sense.
I think the biggest misconception comes in if you don't know what sin is.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we've always, especially coming up in the church, you've always given this very generic term for sin.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
faith and grace and mercy and all those. Yeah.
And so if you don't really know what sin is, and you think you're doing well by, coming in church every Sunday, paying your tithes, and being a good steward to the church, and, showing up past appreciation dinner, and, giving him his flowers while he's here, and, helping sister. If you're doing that kind of stuff, and you think, okay, then I'm not sinning, while at the same time going home and sinning, you know what I'm saying? So like if you don't know that to put certain foods in your body is a sin, and to not cleanse yourself a certain way is a sin, and to be sick, and if you know that you're sick and you don't warn people who's coming into your facility that you're sick, hey, let's postpone for today because I'm not feeling well, that's a sin. So like if you don't know what sin is, and you truly think that, because you're not doing, like maybe you're not promiscuous, or maybe you dress decent, and you truly think that you're doing well.
But here's the crazy thing to me. When I hear people discuss the state of the world and things like that, the state of America, the state of the black people in America, or just people in general who say they believe in the Bible, a lot of people say it's because we got away from the Bible, or it's because we got away from the Word, or it's because we got away from doing what God told us to do. So you're saying the right things, but as you said, without defining the right thing, you're hitting it on the mark. What needs to be done in order to right this ship, but you don't have the correct definitions in place for those words to identify the proper the action plan. You can't put the action plan together because you don't have the definition of the words.
Yeah, what you're saying, it sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds perfect.
It reminds me so much of that scripture when Yahuah say, my people have a zeal for me with no knowledge.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not that my people don't have a zeal for me. They have a zeal for me. Those people in the church, they want to serve the Most High. They wouldn't be showing up.
Absolutely.
Some of them just, it's wicked people everywhere, But, they have that zeal. They're not showing up there every Sunday, to serve Satan. You know what I'm saying?
That's why we read all over the place, woe to the false prophet, and woe to the shepherds who are leading my sheep astray. That is exactly why.
He said, my people got a zeal for me, but with no knowledge.
Yeah.
And so what's the knowledge? What's the knowledge? What is the knowledge we don't have?
Okay.
Hey,
real quick before we go any further, I want to say shalom, Shabbat shalom, and welcome back. We got Koti, who I ain't seen in the room in a minute, but I know you still with us in the Ruach. Coty Sylvia popped in. Did you see her?
Yes, I did.
Hey, shalom,
That's
sis.
Sylvia, shalom. It has been a minute. Yes, it has.
Bye, shalom, everybody. It has been a minute, but I am still with everyone in the Ruach. Absolutely.
Yeah.
She's like, look at you sharing with me.
No, no. I mean, watch on YouTube, and I know life.
Okay.
So it's all good. You know, this is never.
Well, no, I went back and started over. I went back and started over on studying the scriptures.
Oh, wow.
So I went back to our very first video 2 years ago and started over.
Wow, okay.
Because I had someone that was going on the journey with me that wanted to start over. And so I went back and we started over, watched the first videos, talked that out, and
Was that helpful
now I'm back.
to the person that's studying with you?
Hmm?
Was that helpful to the person that was studying with you?
Was it helpful?
Yes.
I believe that it was, but at this point, she just kind of has to find her own way. You know, I've advised her. There's questions that she asked me, and I can't answer those questions. I've advised her to reach out to you guys. So I don't know if she has for any assistance, but you know, I did what I could do.
Hallelujah. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. Each of us.
That's all any of us can do. So we just reach back and grab for somebody else. We gotta just try to get as many of us out as we can before the house burned down. That's what we doing. You know what I'm saying? Trying to wake up. We're in a house full of sleeping bodies and just trying to wake up as many as we can before it burns to the ground.
Yes. Yes.
That's it.
Yes, sis, you nailed it. I read your
She
comments.
said, Culture Tania,
Yes.
she said, don't forget to set up our spirit. That's the most important delivering portion of everything. That's the power, because he himself leads us into all truth.
That's right.
Can never leave that unsaid. He helped you discern the evil from the good. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Coty Latasha?
Y'all know I be forgetting to put my hand down.
Oh, okay. It's all right.
No, but I was gonna ask when you were saying to wake up as many as we can. So my question, when we spread the word and when we give the truth and we tell the truth, and those that still don't wake up, is it because they're not a part of the remnant and they're not supposed to be awakened?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Like the thing is, we don't know if they woke up or not, right? Our job is simply to
Spread the
be
seed.
fishers of men, spread the seed.
Spread the seeds. Yeah.
The ruach, as Coty is posting, is what's watering you, right? And it's up to the individual to be fertile soil. If we think about like the parable of the seed.
Of the sword.
Sower.
Mhm.
It's up to us to be fertile soil, and you know,
All
life is going to
seeds,
determine.
Yeah, different seeds sprout at different times.
Yep.
Some seeds, sprout right up. They touch the dirt, a little water, boom, And then some seeds, boy, they come at the very end of spring. You be like, my goodness, I didn't think this was gonna come through. But they come through, and some of them be the prettiest plants, And so only y'all can determine when the seeds sprout. It's just our job. And that's why, we should, although this is really hard to do, it's easy to say. But once we plant the seeds, we should be at shalom, because our job was to plant the seed. We did our job.
Right.
A lot of time when you see a seed sprout and then you see it die, it can be heartbreaking. It can be a thing in which, is very sorrowful. But you gotta keep moving on. You gotta keep planting seeds.
Yeah.
You gotta do your job, and it's just.
It was an elder that really impressed upon us the visual image of fruit just ripening at different times. And it don't mean it because you're not there to witness it when it ripens. Doesn't mean it's not right.
It's vanity to want to be there, like, look at what I did.
Right. To think that it's anything that we did.
Okay.
Scripture says they don't all be taught of Yahuah. right? And so
Yeah,
we just his tools.
that's it.
And I don't mean me and her. I mean we, all of us, are simply extensions of the body scattering that seed, you know, and that's where Second Timothy comes in. The second part of that I love, which is not just to study to show yourself approved, but the second part says a workman that need not be ashamed, rightly able to divide the word of truth. Meaning each of us have to have the ability to go out there and spread the truth.
Okay.
You know, and so what this is, in my estimation, what we do with these videos and with the Project Wake Up Jacob website, which I know is it's just sitting there with no updates. Because I haven't touched it in probably a year.
He was real website either, boy.
What it is, in my best estimation, is us trying to help people who may be looking, give the tools to keep digging on your own. You know what I'm saying? To take some of what he blessed us with and to share it so that you can then take those tools. So not to give you the gold, but to give you the tools so that you can dig on your own and research on your own and compare and contrast. You know what I mean?
Take your talents and grow your talents.
Exactly.
Don't bury your talent.
Here's something I haven't said in a while, and I should say all the time. We don't ever expect or desire for anyone to take our word about anything that we share. We have the desire for people to study it for themselves and to verify whether or not what we think we see is also what you see, and even more importantly, what y'all are saying.
Because in a lot of cases, that help confirm it. That's confirmation to us.
Absolutely.
When you come back like, I studied that, and then guess I remember when we was talking to Ak, when you was on the calendar, and you was talking to Ak about that theory, your theory about the moon.
Okay.
And he came back and like, I studied this. Well, I actually went and studied the cycles.
Right.
And and that's edification, because it's like,
right.
Hallelujah, because you're confirming, what I thought I saw. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, at some point, I guess we should go ahead and start our reading.
Might as well.
All right, let's dig on.
That's why we all showed up tonight.
All right, family, we are picking up in the book of Yahusha or Joshua, starting at chapter 19.
I think you first, bro.
I am. I'm just waiting on you.
Okay.
Oh, you there? Okay. All right, picking up in chapter 19. And it reads, and the second lot came out for Simeon, for the tribe of the children of Simeon, for their clans. And their inheritance was within the inheritance of the children of Yahudah. And they had in their inheritance Beersheba, or Sheba, and Moladah, and Hatzar, and Shual, and Bala, and Etzim, and El Tolad, and Bethel, and Hormah, and Ziklag, and Beth Markabah, and Hatzar Susa, Hatzar Susa. Also Beth Lebaoth, and Sharuhin, 13 cities and their villages. Ain Rimmon, and Esther, and Ashan, 4 cities and their villages, and all the villages that were all around these cities, as far as Belath Peor, Ramoth Negeb. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Simeon for their clans. The inheritance of the children of Simeon was out of the portion of the children of Yahudah. For the portion of the children of Yahudah was too much for them. So the children of Simeon had their inheritance within their inheritance. And the third lot came up for the children of Zebulun, for their clans, and for the border of their inheritance. And for the border of their inheritance was as far as Sarid, and their border went toward the sea, and Marla, and reached to Dabasheth, and reached to the Wadi that faced Yokneam, and turned back from Sarid eastward toward the sunrise to the border of Kislev Tabor, and went out toward Debarath, and went up to Yaphia. From there it passed over eastward to the east of Gath Hefer toward Eth Katzin, and went out to Rimmon, which borders on Neah. And the border went around it on the north side of Hanathon. What exactly was that?
Somebody blew that up. I should have ignored it.
I apologize. Okay. And the border went around it on the north side of Hanathon, and it ended in the valley of Yiphthahel. Also, Katah and Nahalal and Shimron and Yedalah and Bethlehem. Bethlehem. 12 cities and their villages. This was the inheritance of the children of Zebulun for their clans, these cities with their villages. The fourth lot came out to Issachar, for the children of Issachar for their clans, and their borders toward Israel and Kesaloth and Shunim and Hapharaim and Shion and Anaharath and Rabith and Kishon and Ebetz and Remeth and En Ganim and En Hadah and Beth Pastetz. Beth Pastetz. And the border reached to Tabor and Shahat Sema and Beth Shemesh, and their border ended at the Yarden. 16 cities with their villages. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Issachar for their clans, the cities of their villages. And the fifth lot came out for the tribe of the children of Asher for their clans. And their border was Helkath and Hali and Betin and Akshav and Almelech and Amad and Mishal, and it reached to Mount Carmel westward and to Brook Shihor Libnath, and turned toward the sunrise to Beth Dagon, and reached to Zebulun and to the valley of Yiphthahel. Then northward beyond Beth Emek and Neiel, and went out to Kabul, which was on the left, and Hebron and Rehob and Haman and Canaan as far as Great Sidon. And the border turned to Ramah and to the strong city Sor, and the border turned to Hosah and ended at the sea from the coast of Akzib. And Umah and Aphek and Rehob were included, 22 cities with their villages. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Asher for their clans, these cities with their villages. The sixth lot came out to the children of Naphtali, for the children of Naphtali for their clans. Y'all get what they're saying, right? The reason it's repeated, that is not just for the individual, it's not just for the individual's children, it's for his whole posterity. If we had never been removed from our land, we would still be living in that land that was the inheritance of our tribe. And this is all just, in short, just them walking out everything that was set in motion when Moses was telling them by the mouth of Yah, and when you cross over into the land divide the land by this. If it's too much for this person, divide for this individual clan, share it with another clan, make sure these people get that clan. That's what all this is. This is the fulfillment of everything that Yah said through the mouth of Moses. Okay. 33. Okay, Torah. And their border was from Heleth, from the terebinth tree, in Sa'ananim, and Adami, Nekev, and Yabanel, as far as Lakum, and it ended at the Yarden. And the border turned westward to Aznath Tabor, and went out from there toward Hukok, and reached to Zebulun on the south side, and Asher on the west side, and ended at Yehudah by the Yarden toward the sunrise. And the cities of defense were Siddim, Seir, and Hamath, Rakath, and Kinnereth, and Adamah, and Ramah, and Hatzor, and Kadesh, and Edrei, and En Hatzor, and Yeron, and Migdal El, Horim, and Bethanah, and Beth Shemesh, 19 cities with their villages, the cities of defense. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Naphtali for their clans, the cities with their villages. And the seventh lot came out for the tribe of the children of Dan for their clans. And the border of their inheritance was Sorah, and Eshtaol, and Ir-Shemesh, and Sha'alabim, and Ayalam, and Yithlah, and Elam, and Timnath, and Ekron, and El-Teketh, and Gibbethon, and Ba'alath, and Yehud, and Beni, and Barak, and Gath, and Ramon, and Me Yakron, and Rakon, with the border before Yaphon. And the border of the children of Dan went out from them, and the children of Dan went up to fight against Leshem and captured it. He told them to, right? Okay. And they struck it with the edge of the sword and possessed it, and dwelt in it, and called it Leshem Dan. No, and called it Leshem Dan, after the name of Dan, their father. Yeah, Leshem Dan. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Dan for their clans, these cities with their villages. And when they had ended dividing the land as an inheritance according to their borders, the children of Israel gave an inheritance to Yahusha, the son of Nun, in their midst. According to the mouth of Yahuah, they gave him the city which he asked for, Timnah Serah, in the mountains of Ephraim. And he built the city and dwelt in it. These were the inheritances which Eleazar the priest, and Yahusha, son of Nun, and the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel divided as an inheritance by lot in Shiloh before Yahuah, at the door of the tent of appointment, and they ended dividing the country. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. And Yahuah spoke to Yahusha, saying, speak to the children of Israel, saying, appoint for yourselves cities of refuge, of which I spoke to you through Moses. For the manslayer who strikes any being mistakenly, unknowingly to flee there, and they shall be your refuge from the revenger of blood. And he shall flee to one of those cities and stand at the entrance of the gate of the city, and declare his case in the hearing of the elders of the city. And they shall take him into the city as one of them, and give him a place, and he shall dwell among them. And when the revenger of blood pursues him, they do not give the manslayer into his hands, because he struck his neighbor unknowingly, and did not hate him beforehand. And he shall dwell in the city until he stands before the congregation for right ruling, and unto the death of those who is the high priest in those days. Then let the manslayer return and come into his own city and his own house, to the city from which he fled. So they set apart Kadesh Galil in the mountains of Naphtali, and Shechem in the mountains of Ephraim, and Koriath Araba, that is Hebron, in the mountains of Yehudah. And beyond the Yarden by Yerio eastward, they appointed Bethsira in the wilderness of the plain from the tribe of Reuben, and Ramoth in Gilgal from the tribe of Gad, and Golan in Bashan from the tribe of Manasseh. These were the cities appointed for all the children of Israel, and for the strangers who sojourned in their midst, for anyone striking and being unknowingly to flee there, and not die by the hand of the revenger of blood, until he stood before the congregation. Now, what I know about these cities, they were kind of like prison, kind of sort of. It wasn't like pleasant land, like especially like Bashan. Bashan was like, you went there, they started sending all kind of criminals to Bashan. It was like a wasteland. The place that they eventually started calling hell was in Bashan. You know what I'm saying? It was horrible, these cities.
Yeah, this is again just according to the law. So remember, Moses told them by Yah's will. I got to keep adding that. You need to set these places up so that if someone kills someone accidentally, not purposely, they have somewhere to flee to, so that their family member or members plural don't come and stone them to death or kill them before they have this opportunity to, first of all, them cool down, and then someone to righteously judge the situation. And so that's what this is.
These weren't like paradise cities. I mean, they weren't getting off. You still kill somebody. So these were still like prison lands.
And ultimately, also, it's important to keep bringing back to our memory that we're entering a land, we're establishing the places where each tribe is going to inherit. But remember, you just also read about the cities that were set up for defense. So now you're talking about a military, and now you're talking about a national military, right? For your sovereign land. And now you're talking about implementation of government systems, right? And so again, we have to see these laws as our government system in order to make the connection that this is national. This is a national thing. This is our nation, our laws, our government, our way that the Most High said this this system is supposed to be run. And he didn't change his mind, right? Koti Latasha.
Now, I just had a question as far as like with Shechem. Is that the same land that they killed Shechem in, Levi and Simeon? Is that the same land when they killed all of?
I would have to look at it on the map, since I'm not sure.
Okay, because I just seen his name coming up, and I'm like, is that the land because they killed them and they conquered that kingdom? Did he give them that land?
Let me see if it's the same name. In give me 1 second. That's a good question. What was that? 20. And what verse? Can you find me one of the verses that has Shechem?
I think it's verse 7. Oh my goodness.
Verse 7. Okay. So that is the same name. Okay. So In the Strong's, it is Ridge, a place in Palestine, Shechem. So it could be, sis. I will have to look at it on the map, but it is possible. And you notice that several of those names were not just names of a tribe or a typical Hebrew name. We had one of these lands that had the name of Dagon in it. And, you know, it ties back to the fact that, remember, we were displacing Canaanites that it came in there. So some of these lands, I do believe, were called after, were still called whatever it was called before they got there. And some of those names, they did change. So it's possible. I don't know for sure.
And then when we was reading, I think it was in 19, when he was saying that Simeon, Simeon children was took some of the portion of Yahudah land because it was too much. So do that mean that, because you know how like they say like only Judah, Benjamin, and Levites was in the land during that time, but if he gave some of Simeon children some of Yahudah portion, do that mean that they was in that land during that time when we during 70 AD or during the time of the separation?
I don't think that's what this is referring to. This is just talking about the land that was allocated to Judah. When you go back and look at how many of them it was, Moses was told when they go and they divide that land, if a portion was bigger than what a particular tribe needed, that they should share it with one of the tribes who had a bigger tribe. So all this is saying, in my understanding, is that Simeon had a bigger tribe, and the land that was allocated to Judah was big enough that Judah was able to allocate some of that portion to Simeon. Did some of the tribe of Simeon wind up integrating in with Judah? It's possible. It's very possible. So that by the time we get to 70 AD, some of the tribe of Simeon is part of it. It's possible. Yeah, it's very possible.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Moving to 21. Let's see. We got 45. Yeah. That'll work. Okay. Joshua chapter 21. And the heads of the fathers of the Levites came near to Eleazar the priest, to Yahusha, son of Nun, and to the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel. And they spoke to them at Shiloh in the land of Canaan, saying, Yahuah commanded through Moses to give us cities to dwell in, with their open land for our livestock. So the children of Israel gave to the Levites from their inheritance at the mouth of Yah these cities and their open land. And the lot came out for the clans of the Kehathites and the children of Aharon the priest, who were of the Levites, had 13 cities by lot from the tribe of Yehudah, from the tribe of Simeon, and from the tribe of Benjamin. And the rest of the children of Kehath had 10 cities by lot from the clans of the tribe of Ephraim, from the tribe of Dan, and from the half tribe of Manasseh. And the children of Gershon had 13 cities by lot from the clans of the tribe of Issachar, from the tribe of Asher, from the tribe of Naphtali, and from the half tribe of Manasseh in Bashan. The tribe of Merari, Torah, the children of Merari, for their clans, had 12 cities from the tribe of Reuben, and from the tribe of Gad, and from the tribe of Zebulun. Thus, the children of Israel gave these cities with their open land by lot to the Levites, as Yahuah had commanded by the hand of Moshe. So, from the tribe of the children of Judah, and from the tribe of the children of Simeon, they gave these cities which they mentioned which are mentioned by name. And they were, for the children of Aharon, one of the clans of the Kehathites, who were of the children of Levi, for the lot was theirs first. And they gave them Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron. Arba was the father of Anak. In the mountains of Yehuda, there's an example again, with the open land surrounding it. And the fields of the city and its villages they gave to Caleb, son of Zephanah, as his possession. But to the children of Aharon, the priests, they gave Hebron with its open land, a city of refuge for the manslayer, and Libnah with its open land, and Yatir with its open land, and Ishtemoa with its open land, and Holon with its open land, and Debir with its open land, and Ayin with its open land, and Utah with its open land, and Beth Shemesh with its open land, 9 cities from those 2 tribes. And from the tribe of Benjamin, Gibbon with its open land, Geba with its open land, and Anatoth with its open land, and Alman with its open land, 4 cities. All the cities of the children of Aharon, the priests, were 13 cities with their open lands, and the clans of the children of Kehath, the Levites, the rest of the children of Kehath, even they had the cities of their lot from the tribe of Ephraim. And they gave them Shechem with its open land in the mountains of Ephraim as a city of refuge for the manslayer, and Gezer with its open land, and Kibtais, Saim with its open land, and Beth Haran with its open land, 4 cities. And from the tribe of Dan, El Teketh with its open land, and Gibbethon with its open land.
Ayalon with its open land, and Gath Ramon with its open land, 4 cities. And from the half tribe of Manasseh, Tanuk with its open land, and Gath Ramah with its open land, 2 cities. All 10 cities with their open lands were for the rest of the clans of the children of Kohath. And to the children of Gershon, of the clans of the Levites, from the other half tribe of Manasseh, they gave Golan and Bashan with its open land as a city of refuge for the manslayer, and Besh Terah with its open land, 2 cities. For the tribe of Issachar, Kishon and its open land, Debarath with its open land, Yarmouth with its open land, and En-Ganim with its open land, 4 cities. And for the tribe of Asher, Moshel with its open land, Abdon and its open land, Hilkath with its open land, Rehob with its open land, 4 cities. And from the tribe of Naphtali, Kadesh and Gilgal with its open land as a city of refuge for the manslayer, and Hamath Dor with its open land, Kartan with its open land, 3 cities. All the cities of the Gershonites, for their clans were 13 cities with their open land. And to the clans of the children of Merari, the rest of the Levites from the tribe of Zebulun, Yochanim with its open land, Karta with its open land, Dimnah with its open land, Nahal with its open land, 4 cities. And from the tribe of Reuben, Bethsor with its open land, Yatsar with its open land, Quidemoth with its open land, and Mephath with its open land, 4 cities. And from the tribe of Gad, Ramoth and Gilgal with its open land as a city of refuge for the manslayer, and Mahanaim with its open land, Heshbon with its open land, Yazir with its open land, 4 cities in all. All the cities of the children of Merari for their clans. The rest of the clans of the Levites were by the lot 12 cities. All the cities of the Levites within the possession of the children of Israel were 48 cities with their open lands. Each of these cities had its open land surrounding it. So it was with all the cities. So what they just described was Levi's portion of each of these tribes' land. So that you know, in all their land there was a section just for the Levites. Thus Yahuah gave to Israel all the land of which he had sworn to give to their fathers, and they took possession of it and dwelt in it. And Yahuah gave them rest all around according to all that he had sworn to their fathers. And not a man of all their enemies stood against them. Yahuah gave all their enemies into their hand. Not a word failed of any good word which Yahuah has spoke to the house of Israel. All came in.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, just let me expound on what Red was saying real quick. Just to get that visual. Remember, Levi, you know, had a tribe just as big as in average as any of the other tribes. And so when we read about them inheriting the work of the temple and the land around the temple was still not have been enough for the entire tribe of Levi. And what we read here is that Levi technically was even broken up into tribes within Levi. The reason being is because within the tribes of Levi, families had inheritance of duties, right? And we've talked about this before, but just really, really kind of ingraining into your understanding, especially as it relates to, you know, when you get talking about the priesthood and stuff like that. There was a clan within the Levites who cared for the utensils in the temple. There was a clan within the Levites who cared for the sacrificing of the animals. There was a clan within the Levites who cared for every aspect of whatever went on within the temple. But then also remember, when people brought and dedicated things to the Levites developed a system of storage of grain, of wine, and anything else, so that they stored these things for the fatherless and the widows. Now, imagine that possibly being dispersed, because you also had clans of Levites within every tribe, right? And so they had land within every tribe, which means they had storage facilities within every tribe, which would make it a logistical beauty to be able to say within this tribe, somebody needs something, we'll go see the Levites that's within your tribe, right? Or within this tribe, there's a judgment that needs to be made about something, we'll go see the Levites within your tribe.
The Levites would have been like the governors. And so,
Yep,
you know,
absolutely.
if you discussed with the Levites of your tribe, you know, your issue, when it was their turn to like go service the temple, then they could take the issue of your clan to the temple, you know what I'm saying, and discuss things with the high priest, you know, which was like, so the Levites was like the government system.
Yep.
And they was the doctors,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? So they was like the doctors of each clan. So when you sick in your clan and, you know, you supposed to go see the Levi in your portion to let you know if, you know, is this yellow or
Yep.
green or white? Should I be staying home? Should I be, you know? So they did a lot. The Levites pulled their weight.
And
they
it was-
deserved everything they got.
Yeah, and it was a system, you know, if anything, if any matter was too difficult for them to judge, it would get kicked up to the next individual within that government system. Again, this is a government system, right? So that's how that would operate.
Right. So the high priest was like the president, you know.
And going forward, well, the high priest was the high priest. That was the
Yeah.
intercessor between.
Yeah.
That was the intercessor in the flesh between Yahuah and Israel.
He wore the Urim and the Thummim.
Yeah.
Or the Urim and Thummim.
And as we continue reading through, you're going to read that there's a distinction made between the Levites and the priests. And so keep that they had duties and jobs in mind when we get to that point, because when it says the priests, they're talking about those who were in attendance at the temple. And when they're talking about the Levites, they're talking about all of the Levites. Any Levite couldn't just go tend to the temple.
That's true.
It had to be passed down to you as part of your inheritance, meaning the family of Aharon was in charge of the priesthood, right?
There was even a hierarchy in that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like it's always orders, you know, with the house. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Coach, answer that.
I was just wondering, from what you were reading, it seems as if the Levites were also over the refuge land.
Exactly, just like what Red was saying about them governing, right? And so think about in modern society when we talk about people going to a church for refuge, right? And the government is not able to go in and extricate someone, and the priest is the one that's keeping them. That's where they got that from.
That's where they got that.
That's where they got that from. You are exactly right.
And the Levites was awesome. So they was also some fighters. So if somebody thought they was gonna come up in there and just bust up in there, it was like with the Levites in charge, it was like, nah, brother, you gonna wait till this judgment go down.
Levi's was tough.
Yeah.
That's right.
Remember, it was Levi was one of the two who went in there and wrecked shop when Shittim them raped Dina.
Yeah.
So Levi, that bloodline wasn't no joke. You know what I'm saying? If Judah and Levi ruling, you know Levi ain't coming up short.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, don't even talk about the Maccabees. What? Forget about it.
Okay. Excellent observation.
Dang.
Coach
Latasha?
When we was reading, I think it's in 21:11 when they talk about in Hebron, Abba, is that the father of the one of the giants in Anak?
Where he said he was the father of Anak.
Yeah. I would have to assume so, because the sons of Anak was definitely a reference to the Nephilim.
The Nephilim, right?
Yeah.
Nephilim, right? So the Nephilim was still within the land of Judah. They didn't like push them out.
I may have been one of them falling. Actually, it could have been. You know.
So what this is saying, sis, is and that's what I was trying to say earlier. When it says they gave them Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron. Arba was the father of Anak in the mountains of Yahudah. So what they're saying is that's what that land was called, and it was named after the father of Anak. It's not necessarily saying that Arba was still there, or even that the Anakim was still there, because remember, Joshua then went in there to displace them. But this is just giving you some context to what we were saying earlier, which is some of these lands are still named after names that was there before they came and took the lands over.
Because they divvied up the mountain that the fallen angels fell on.
Right.
So they divvied that up. That was a part of somebody's inheritance. So you know what happened to them. You know, Michael came down to handle them, but it don't mean that they children, you know what I'm saying? You know, they locked up somewhere. Scripture said they locked up somewhere over there. You know what I'm saying? So in a sense, it's like y'all put them there to kind of guard those prisons too. You know what I'm saying? And
I want y'all to think about something else. Yeah. Well, they were supposed to. So these are quite possibly some of the places where the Melachim fell from and to. So if there is a space portal entry point into the physical realm from the spiritual realm that was in that area, these may have been some of those places. That's very possible.
Because where was Jacob at? What did Jacob see?
Yeah. So something.
Yeah.
Something else I want y'all to consider too is in the way we were brought up, most of us, there's usually a stigma about physical things and places that someone says may have been possessed, or someone died there, or something like that, right? People say, well, that house used to be haunted, or somebody lived in that house and you know, you don't want to buy that house or something like that. We went into this land understanding very well what was there. And what we see here as a precedent is that Yahuah expected us in our understanding to have the power to cleanse it and to reside there without any fear that there was any power from the fallen, the Nephilim spirits, any of that. They had no power, right? They had no power there. Once we got there and cleansed that land, it was our land. So that stigma that humans and Hebrews, which a lot of us, we real good for that, have about being fearful of something because, you know, it may have been a spirit. No, we supposed to be able to go in there, anoint, cast that. Now, was supposed to, are supposed to is what I'm saying. If you are understanding what we're supposed to be understanding, you're supposed to be walking this thing out in righteousness. Which means you should be going in and out your daily life with that power and with Yah at your head saying, no, by the power of Yah, by Hashem Yahusha, I cast out, you know, and anoint and pray and fast if need be. But, you know, once all of that is done, stand in your faith.
We didn't do that.
We didn't do that.
Some of us did. Some of us did.
Yeah.
But after a while, you know,
but as a whole, we did not.
It's why he kept warning us, like, you know, don't do what the people of this land do. You know what I'm saying? And so we went there and we got to worshiping the same gods eventually.
Yeah.
You know, we got to saying things like, you know, let's do this so the Queen of Heaven, you know, Samarinas can supply us with this. Let's bake cakes. We got to baking cakes to us. You know, we still bake cakes today on our birthday.
One of y'all brought up a few studies ago this point, and this is very true. We did not utterly cast out and cast down the people that we were supposed to and put them under the ban, and the idols that we were supposed to, the pillars, the groves. We did not completely destroy those things as we were supposed to. So if we understand that about them, let's understand about us and where we are, that we are still supposed to be utterly casting out and casting down any and all idols that we come across. And that don't mean at this point, literally, although I love this, I screenshotted this picture of this little girl, remind me of Naria, in a mall with her book back on, and she come pie out the hell out of this damn Santa Claus. And somebody caught this picture kicking this Santa Claus. And I said, boy, if that don't encapsulate and embody how we supposed to be. But anyway.
Because Messiah say a little leaven's a bunch.
That's right. So we are supposed to be removing it from our vocabulary, removing it from our practices and tradition. And at the same time, as we deal with other people compassionately, patiently, kindly, with humility, we are supposed to be setting a tone and an example, which it's something I was thinking about this past week. I just have to do better at being free about interdialoguing with people, and I'm not saying in an argument. You okay? We almost done. Interdialoguing with people in a way that they get samples and snippets of who we are as a righteous people and what we're about, so that they can have those seeds and they can have those things to pull on. So when they see, as you say, the ice pick people and stuff like that, they can see them and make a distinction between them and righteous Israelites and say, no, all those who say the Israelites are not like that. I see them walking this thing out, and I see Yahusha. And that's going to be a big thing, right? To not just see that we say we Israel and we keep the law, but to see Yahusha, to see a physical embodiment and representation of what Yahusha is asking us to represent on his behalf. And if they can see that, as it ties into what we was looking at last week and the week before, if they can see that, I think that we'll make the connection with those who Yah has it for, the connection to be made with. They're going to hear his voice.
It's already started because, I seen a Gentile giving a breakdown on who the Hebrew Israelites, Black Hebrew Israelites is. And one of the things before he started, he's like, I just want to first say, one of the misconceptions we have is that they all are alike. They're not, you know. And so he even went on to say, you know, you have some branches that, you know, preach love, you know, and I know people don't want to hear that, but they do. And then you just have some that preach hate, you know, and so there are difference in
there's steps in between.
You know what I'm saying? So
some extreme love.
I know, oh my God.
That's
Hebrew.
There's some.
If you're doing too much loving over there, Hebrew, come on.
Extreme.
Yeah. But and then you got some like I figure if you fall right there in the middle, you know, love, I mean I say love.
That's right.
Hate.
What
I mean I say hate.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, scripture say what it say. When Abiyah sent the Malachim to go through their land to see who was loving what was going on in the world and who was hating what was going on in the world. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so it is what it is. You know, don't be up here loving sin. You know what I mean? Try to help them in love. Right. But you know what I'm saying? Still, you know, try to turn away. Don't be.
And the key to that is very simple. In all honesty, is try to love somebody in the way that you want to be loved. So, like, I mean, somebody sinning. So are we.
Yes.
I'm sure we can all identify ways that we have sinned as well, or are sinning.
Still sinning.
Yeah, and still trying to fix. So it's like, you know, don't go more hard on them than you want somebody to come on you at the place where we are in our walk. So they, just because they in a different place and they walk, don't mean you should browbeat them with a bigger stick or go upside their head with a stone. Right now,
and then
we're not stoning nobody.
Always
give them room.
you go out to them splinters, planking your own out. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, you look horrible out there telling somebody what they should do when they know you.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So now you just look like a hypocrite, and even worse, you causing the Most High name to be frowned upon.
Now the fine line is towing that balance between not okaying sin, but also not you know, riding somebody to death to where you run them away from the truth, because the only thing you can discuss with them is where they wrong.
I think humility is the key.
Absolutely.
Remembering that you running a race too.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You running a race too. And it's like, you know, I see some rules and they get on these high horses, baby. And you be like, you know, I do not argue with rules like that. I just tell them, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's me, the sinner. Go ahead, Saint. I just like to see you. I just like to revere in your dust. Go ahead. I'm the sinner. You're absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? I do not, because I mean, you get so big, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now I have a question. So I was listening to somebody. His channel is through Truth, Life, and Action. And I was listening to him, and he was talking about revealing who you are and how you don't always have to tell everybody that you are an Israelite, and it's not everybody's business that you're Israelite. And sometimes you can just say like other things. I ain't gonna say he said lie, but basically he was saying lie. And at first I was listening because he was just saying like lie, saying that you don't have to tell them that you're Israelite, but you can say that you're something else. So in my brain, that's lying to me.
What was he saying was the point in saying that you're something other than what you are?
Because he was just saying as far as like, you know, when you out in the world and you at work, or if you engaging with other people within business and different things like that, you don't always have to tell them that you're Israelite. When the topic, if the topic may come up, you don't have to tell them those things, because you don't have to let your left hand know what your right hand is doing in that sense. But I'm like, if you want certain things to happen within your job and you want them to respect you a certain way, then how I can't say that I went off for Passover and then they be like, well, why do you want off for Passover? And then I'll be like, because I went off for Passover, instead of you telling them like, this is who I am, this is what I believe, this is such and such, such and such. You know, like, and it was an open forum and he was asking, I mean, you know, and I don't know how to be quiet on open forums. That's why I shouldn't join them. But it was an open forum, and when he was asking, I just explained to him, I was like, well, my grandma always said, you stand in your truth. And if you don't stand in your truth, then everything else is a lie. So I just didn't understand what he was saying. Like, if I'm at work and I want these privileges and these awards, or if I want to require certain things and I tell them that I can't work on a Saturday and they ask me, why can't you work on a Saturday or anything else, I can't be like, oh, because I don't want to work on a Saturday. That doesn't make sense. You got to explain to them why you don't want to work on a Saturday. This is what I believe, and you show them. Yeah. But he's like, no, you can do it other ways. You can show them other ways. You can do it other ways. I'm like, well, explain to me, how do you do it another way? Because I said, I mean, like, I always was raised like, you tell your truth. If you don't want to tell, I mean, I'm not going to say that I don't lie, because if the cops pull me over, I'm going to be like, I didn't run no stop sign. I didn't see no stop sign. But anything else, I'm going to just tell you it is what it is.
I think the point may be being missed because I at first I thought what you were going to say, he was saying was, you know, you don't have to lead with, I'm an Israelite all the time. To that, I would agree. But if you're saying some kind of way cover it up, I would disagree with that. I think that the big point, and it's very important, that may be being missed is if we are to be ministers to Yah, then if I say I need, Saturdays off, unleavened bread off, whatever, I may not, I deal with Gentiles. We're talking about Gentiles. I deal with Gentiles all the time. I deal with whoever I'm dealing with. I don't lead with I'm an Israelite, but if what I'm saying causes you to ask me, then absolutely I'm not going to hide who I am. I'm going to confess Hamashiach and the Heavenly Father, because if I don't confess him, right? So, I mean, like, what's the, what it sounds like, and this is a little scary, what it sounds like is there may be a feeling of shame to a degree, or a feeling that if they know who I am and disagree with what I am or what I'm saying, I may not get this promotion or this raise or this, position or something like that. And again, to that I say, if confessing Hamashiach mean you don't get something, then it's not for you.
Yes, that's kind of like my
pick up your stake.
Yeah, that's kind of like my. So the thing is, in order to win the soul over to the Most High, I have done things where I have talked to people just by leading with Messiah, something we have in common. Like, do you believe in the Messiah?
Right.
Oh, you do? Well, that's like, and I've talked to people. I've talked to several people, like several times for full days, just about Messiah alone, and was fine. Had 5 conversations. And then got to it, and they're like, so, you're a part of a church body?
Yeah, what church you go to?
Oh, no. I said, no, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. What? And have had them come study simply because I think, and I don't know if this is what he was trying to say. I think a lot of times we have to be, we have to let the Spirit guide us. We have to let the Ruach guide us. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we have to be fishermen of men. And in order to win a soul, I'm willing to go. I'm willing to play. My pride, I don't need to boast. I don't need to, be, because it's not even about me at this point. It's about this soul. Right. So I don't need to be boastful. You know what I'm saying? I think that's something we do as humans is we make it about us a lot of time. That's the vanity of men, And in order to win this soul, I have to put myself aside. And the Messiah is the key to the kingdom. I promise you. And a lot of times, if you just talk to people about Mashiach, if you got a love for Messiah, I don't know. We'll know. Let's talk about it. And if you, I don't care. Well, I don't care. You're a Christian, a Catholic. If you say you got a love for Messiah, let's talk about it. Let's see. Yeah. And a lot of time, you mesh with people and you connect with people just by talking about Messiah.
Now, if he was kind of trying to tie that to Paul saying, you know, among the Greeks, I was as a Greek, and you know, among the Jews, be as Jews, all that. If that's what he was trying to tie that to, again, I see a faint connection, but I didn't read that Paul was ever implying that you should deny who you are or deny most importantly Messiah or the truth for that matter. Mm-hmm. I think that what Paul was insinuating was a lot like, you know, what I'm saying and what Rhea was saying, and I think what we all agree on, which is, you know, you meet people where they're at, and then you
fight for that soul.
Exactly.
She said, "I'm her witness to
right.
what she's saying. She gained me through love."
Yeah,
I mean, you know what I'm saying. I'm fighting for a soul. It ain't even about me. I don't need to get on my soapbox. I don't need to, you know what I'm saying. And like a lot of rules do. You know what I'm saying. They feel like, I don't know, but I don't feel that way. I feel like, you know, if the Most High put us in the same facility and He put us in contact with each other. And
somebody got a
mission. And now game on. Now it's my job to gain this soul. And, you know, whatever I have to do, like, you know, they roll up on the Messiah sitting at the table with the tax collectors having a drink. You know what I'm saying? And all the proof.
He said he was having a drink.
I think he was drinking. He wasn't drinking?
I don't think he said it. He said his eyes were red.
What you think his eyes were red from?
I ain't put nothing on Messiah.
You know what I'm saying? And the first thing the Bruce did was what you know what I'm saying? And so it's like,
look at your eyes, red like fire.
No, but
that's because he was drinking wine. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not why.
But you know what I'm saying? The goal is to gain the soul. And if we have to humble ourselves, sometimes you do have to humble yourself. And sometimes you just have to listen, you know what I'm saying? And be slow to talk. Like a lot of times, Bruce, when we get out there, we feel a need to lord ourselves over somebody we talking to. And sometimes, like, it ain't about what you know. Like calm down. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Just listen and hear that person and hear that soul out and just talk to them. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of time, I don't know, I think we lose focus. And if that's what he's saying, then I definitely agree. Okoti, Antoinette, your hand been up for. I'm sorry, sis.
Now, I had a couple of things I wanted to hint on when we were talking earlier about the different lands. And I was thinking about, you know, like all them monks up there in Tibet, you know, all that weird stuff that be going on up there in the mountains, you know. There's something about up in them mountains where there's some scary stuff going on up in there. I be watching Benaiah stuff.
Yeah, me too. Yes.
Yeah, when he just did Mount Seir, I was like, ooh, boy, now, you know, but then I thought about what Shlomo was saying about, and I was thinking even before I was in the truth, it was something, it was different, but every house or apartment I've ever lived in, before I moved in, I always had somebody come bless it.
Hallelujah. Yep.
You know, house, whatever. I'm like, you gonna bless it. We gonna praise whatever was up in here before. I don't know what it was, but I want it out.
Okay.
That's right. That's right. Yes, that's a good way to. I'm like, good way to operate.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
And then the third thing was like, I think I've been around Latasha and Tamika a little bit too long, because now at work they can't stand for me because I'll be like, you know, that's got pork in it, and they be like, what? No, don't tell me the cornbread. I'll be like, yes, okay. I'm like, We go on the subway. I'm like, no, I don't eat Subway. What? I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know. I be like, y'all. So, and it's like you said, in a subtle way. I don't force anything on anybody, but they listening to what I'm eating and how I
That's what it
eat.
sounds like.
And, because everybody claim they don't eat pork, but they love that Subway and some cornbread. And I'm like, it's got pork. They be like, don't say nothing.
Jiffy got a vegetarian cornbread now.
Yeah, they do.
They make a vegetarian cornbread now.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm having the hardest time, because all my family are Christian, and like it's so much feedback, so much negative. Like they don't want to hear anything I'm trying to share, and it's difficult. Like my brother don't even speak to me anymore. I have 4 brothers and sisters. My brother, he's not speaking to me now because he's always called on Jesus, and Jesus has always done things for him in his life. And there's no way, his name is not Jesus. Even when I share, the word and give it to him and show him in scripture and share your lessons, he is sold out on being Jesus. And my mom, this morning, she told me, she said, I think we're going to stop praying together, because we used to pray together every morning, 4:00 every morning. But she said she noticed that I'm quiet when she say Jesus. And she said I use that other name, as she called it. I said, Yahusha. She like, yeah, whatever y'all call it. And so my question is, was I wrong for still trying to pray with her? Right? Because I hear y'all talking. I'm listening to all the discussions, and you're saying, show love and do it, with love. And so, but I felt out of sorts praying with her, and she just must use Jesus. I mean, she was getting real, good morning, Father, in the name of Jesus. Thank you for waking me up in the name of, so she was being
aggressive,
just funky on purpose.
Yeah.
And I felt attacked.
It was.
So should I had just walked away? Yeah, that's my question. When you have someone just not trying to hear it, like I have like 24 people between my mother and father, sisters and brothers, and nieces and nephews, and it's just me, my husband, and my nephew that I raised as my son are the only ones who learned this and welcome it and so elated about it. Because my question was always, what is his name? Nobody can ever tell me. So you say do it in love, but at what point do you walk away? And are you supposed to walk away? Because I hear you say fighting for souls. How do you?
That's a very good question.
I think you're experiencing something, sis, that we all have had in common, especially in the beginning phases of our walk. You look like you wanted to give her some words on that. I'll wait for you.
One of the things that helped me, because like he was saying, we pretty much everybody in this room, everybody in this chat, everybody in this fellowship, pretty much, if not the only person in their family keeping this truth, one of the only people, But there's a scripture that says as much. It says it'll be 1 in the family, 2 in the clan, who will find their way back to the truth. And so, sis, my family, my grandfather was a preacher, was a reverend, and all my family, it's just, I don't pray with them. I don't. I don't. If they pray, you know, if we all together and we having dinner and they pray, I don't. I pray on my own. I'm saying my own words. I don't. I know what you're saying, and that is an attack. That is an attack, and you just have to. At a certain point, you have to tell somebody to either respect your views or do without you. It unfortunately it does get that way sometimes.
I agree with that, and let me add something to that. This thing gets easier. First of all, let me say that the more you walk this out, the easier it will become. That initial resistance that you're experiencing is two-part. The first is it's a spiritual attack.
Yes, it is.
It is the adversary's minions that have control of a being and do not want to let go of the control of that being. If you say the words and give the information that frees someone's mind, think about like the Matrix. You're giving someone the keys to free their mind from the bonds of servitude, of slavery, of sin, right? They don't want to let that vessel go. Okay, so that's first of all. Understand that you're not dealing with the person, you're dealing with the spirit. And so if you can separate the person from the spirit, then you can still love that person and understand that they don't understand that this is, and they may think they understand, right? Especially a Christian. In the name of Jesus, they saying this, and you're the one that's wrong, and they trying to cast a demon out of you, right? So it's kind of humorous if you think about it. But the more you continue to build and grow your foundation and your relationship, the easier it will be to deal with them, because you can de-escalate those situations. You will be speaking with authority because of your relationship with Hamashiach and with his and with the word, and because of your understanding. And so when you're speaking with that authority, and at that point, you're going to have been studying this for a while, it's not new to them anymore. You're walking this thing out daily, and at this point, they realize this is not something that you just
Is that a fluke?
Yeah, you found out about yesterday, and it's going to be gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so they have to begin to respect it. You begin to assert exactly what she said with people that if we're in this conversation and we're respecting each other, I need you to not be passively aggressive with me in trying to push your belief on me. I can concede that maybe you don't agree with what I believe in. Can you concede that I also don't agree with what you believe in? And so if we're gonna be family, and you want, and this is something we had to deal with with our children and our family members. You're not going to be able to interact with our children, push what you believe on our children, and us still allow you to be around our children. So you're going to have to respect what we believe. And so where we are with most of our relatives at this point is they respect what we believe.
Yeah,
some of them agree with what we believe. A fair amount of them agree with what we believe.
Some will come around later. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really shocked.
Yeah.
You know,
A fair amount of our family members agree with what we believe. Some practice what we believe to varying degrees.
When they text us, they say, you know, y'all willing, and,
yeah,
you know,
and some just ain't gonna stop Jesus Christ in you.
Some just
not. And so with those at this point, you know, it's not an aggressive, I'm trying to force this on you thing anymore. It's just that's where they at. And where you at is where you at, and where I'm at is where I'm at.
What's the spirit on them remember, you're not dealing with flesh and blood like Shlomo said.
Right.
So once the spirit on them see that the spirit inside you have grown and your strong man have gotten to the point where none of those arrows will cause you to falter,
Right.
they give up.
Right.
Like that spirit will leave them alone.
Resisted them.
That spirit will leave them alone and then they'll just accept who you are. You know what I'm saying? But as long as you a baby and you new to it, that spirit gonna keep on attacking you because the goal is to get you to stop, to pull you back in.
Yeah, to not allow the word to reach your heart.
Okay.
But to specifically answer your question, we don't when we're in a situation where people are praying who don't believe in what we believe in, we don't pray with them because we don't agree. So either we pray amongst ourselves, or we separate until after they're done with what they're doing. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, Coach Latasha.
Yeah, because Tyler over here hating on me.
Shalom, Tyler.
Shalom, Tyler. What you trying to tell your mom to stop pushing the button? Tyler,
yes,
she keep
putting me on mute.
Uh-oh. What you got, sis?
No, when she was talking about Mount Seir and how you say his name? Benaiah. I've never not speak nobody's name.
Oh, Benaiah. Okay.
Benaiah. Benaiah.
Okay.
There you go. Benaiah. When she was talking about, because I did watch that documentary that he put on YouTube, and I was watching it and I understood it. But I always think of, because they always say Esau, and in my brain, I'm like, is he talking about Esau went into Mount Seir, or did his children go into Mount Seir? That was always my question.
Yeah.
And it was like, when I had typed in the comments, but I mean, it didn't get answered because I'm like, are we talking about Esau went into Mount Seir? Because in the scripture it says who Esau married, or did his children go into Mount Seir? And maybe I didn't just like read the portion.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're talking about his descendants. It's just that people say Esau same way people say Israel. But yeah, his descendants went up there and married in with the Hagarites and all of them. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Because I always think about that because it always made me think of our people and their interest in what Esau looked like. And I'm like, well, y'all do realize that Esau, who he married and what nations he married into. But then I think of like maybe they're talking about the extension of his children and his descendants.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, now I understand it and I get it. But when I watch certain documentaries or I hear certain things, I'm like, are they talking about Esau or his children? And that's always a question I always have because I'm like, I don't want to say something and then somebody be like, no, because it's right here. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe let me go read it to make sure that I'm reading it correctly.
It would be good to make a distinction sometimes because there are people who hear that and presume that all Esau looks like this or like that, when in fact, I think what you're getting to is, Esau married into several different nations, and then Esau's children married into several different nations.
Esau was the king of Africa, the king of Rome, the caveman,
children.
Esau's children. You know what I'm saying? So it was like Esau was all over. So it's like Esau right here with us. Esau look like us. Esau on the block with us.
Yeah.
Some of us then married Esau and had children by Esau.
Esau married into Canaan.
Did.
Esau married into Ishmael. Esau married into the Hagarites.
Esau all over. Now, Coach Kimmy, you had your hand up and you took it down. Why you take it down?
See, I didn't even.
Because she said,
usually
Tasha talks too much.
Come on up to the mic, sis.
I didn't want to jump the line. I knew Coach Tasha was next.
It's all good.
But I just wanted to say to Coach Tahisha it does get easier. Because I'm fairly new. Well, I don't want to say fairly new. But I'm as new as I am, the hardest thing for me was not being able to be with my family at certain times. Like, we real big on football. So Saturdays are the biggest days for us, and we grilling out, and it's a nice day, and we finna get it up. My dad putting pork chops on the grill. We got the ribs going, and he got his cooler out. We got the music playing. They playing cards in the back. That's a typical Saturday for us. And that was the hardest thing for me, was separating myself and them not understanding why I'm not coming around, and me trying to explain why I'm not, without coming off as preachy.
And the first thing you would say, where you at? Why you ain't here? Where you at? Come on through.
First thing my dad would say, baby girl, you on your way?
Right.
I got the grill going right now. I know you on your way. I'm like,
Daddy grilled them.
You got the game about to come on. Your team about to play. And I'm like, I got other things I'm working on. So, you do find other things to focus on. I know for me, I get pulled into my word a lot, and it's in various different ways. Sometimes when I'm looking up herbs, I go through looking through what he mentioned in the beginning of the book, what he first said he put out, or if I'm just sitting in the yard with my dog and I'm just laying around, I'm like, let me go read this verse, and it ends up reading the whole chapter, or I end up reading the whole book. So your time you get occupied, because he starts to fill your day with different things. And then you find a buddy. I was lucky enough to get a buddy that's in this particular group. So he does put things in place for you, especially when you get to that point where you feel like you just by yourself. And it's good to, get as deep in the word as you can. But I know how it is to want to be with somebody, walk with somebody, have somebody else that you can fellowship with. So it just, hang in there, because it makes a difference. It really does.
Yeah. It's what I was telling
Thank you.
I was telling a sister the other day, like the fellowship is strengthened. Like, and I'm not even gonna lie, the fellowship was something y'all had to use my husband to really correct me on, because I was all for being the loner. I'm like, I'm telling him, I'm like, it's 10 of us. We got a fellowship. We don't need another, we don't need people, you know what I mean? And he like,
that was after you in this car, though.
Yeah.
I mean, when we first started studying, and the first fellowship we started attending, you was good with fellowship.
It was good. It was beautiful. It was like a utopia, only for it to be exposed for something so ugly. And I was just like, you talking about PTSD? I was like, oh no, I ain't never doing that again. I ain't never doing that. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, you can't trust nobody. You can't even trust people who say they love Yah. You know what I'm saying? Because I just thought it was given. If you loved Yah, you feared Yah. You know what I mean? And you was going to do right. I just thought that was a given. And before my eyes was just open to the fact that these people out here saying Yah and the biggest devils you would ever see. And that blew my mind. I couldn't believe that. But once I learned that, I said, oh, no, we got to stay away from people.
Okay.
We got to say, he was like, real, we can't stay away from people. What's wrong with you?
Hey. Told out everybody for joining us. You all caught up. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And we will see y'all tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Shalom, Koti Gilead.
Hey.
I say yes. I'm too blessed to be stressed. Nevertheless, I must confess. Yes, this is Project Wake Up Jacob. On the Sabbath we rest and reflect upon his goodness. Because we are guided by the Ruach Kodesh. Yes, whenever I get dressed, yes, I'm dripping Kodesh fresh.